Garry Adelman, American Battlefield Trust, here with Chris from Vlogging Through History, and he's asked me to talk about some of my favorite stuff, so let's do this, okay? We're on the battlefield of Antietam, but how in this obscure woodlot do you end up with soldiers from New York, Minnesota, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Louisiana, Virginia, South Carolina, and elsewhere? Well, let's talk about that, because we are at Antietam, and some of you watching might say, Antietam, where does that fit in? And then it's easy to get confused. Chickamauga, Winchester, Malvern Hill, Perryville, how does it all fit together? Well, at least we're in the East now, and the fighting in the East really boils down to just 5 grand movements. They started around Manassas, Virginia. The Confederates win, but ultimately the Union moves down toward Richmond. That results in the Peninsula Campaign in the 7 days. Confederates under Robert E. Lee do well there. He moves north and strikes out. That will come all the way up here to Antietam. The Confederates will be repulsed there. Sorry to spoil the end for you for this video series here. And then the fight will move back down toward Fredericksburg, where the Confederates win there, and at Chancellorsville. So the Confederates, feeling good, move north toward Gettysburg. And after Gettysburg, the toll in the east sort of goes inevitably south toward Richmond and Petersburg, where near there, the Confederates will surrender. And all of these battles in the east, including those in the Shenandoah Valley, really fit into those 5 grand movements. Now, 2 of those movements really concern us today, and that is when George McClellan goes and floats this huge army, more than 100,000 soldiers, out to Chesapeake Bay, and they try to advance up the peninsula formed by the York and the James River. They're going to try to go on Richmond there. There's a battle called Seven Pines there that only really results in Lee getting put in command, and then Lee launches what will be known as the 7 Days Battles. You've heard of these, primarily Beaver Dam Creek and Gaines's Mill, Savage Station, Glendale, or Fraser's Farm, and Malvern Hill. Lee effectively moves or pushes the Union Army under McClellan away, so Lee's feeling good. He decides to move northward. That results in the Battle of Cedar Mountain in Virginia, August of 1862. That's a close call with part of his army, but then he continues north. That results in the Battle of Second Manassas, or the Second Battle of Bull Run. Lee does well at that battle, 4 times larger than the first, and then we'll sort of have an inconclusive engagement at a place called Chantilly. After Chantilly, Lee's army has been ragged. They've been fighting through the 7 days and at Cedar Mountain and Second Bull Run, or Second Manassas, and Lee decides he's going to move further northward. This is the time with Braxton Bragg moving to the north in Kentucky, farther west from here. This is the time to make this done. Maybe France and England will join on our side if only we can march with impunity into the north. And Lee marches through this part of Maryland thinking that Marylanders, Southern friendly Marylanders, are going to rise up to the cause over here. He comes up with a great plan to do it, except he probably marches through the wrong part of Maryland. If he was looking for Southern sympathizers, he's going to march them into the north without a lot of respect for his opponent. Now again, George McClellan. He's going to split his army up. Famously, you know, some of his orders are found near Frederick, Maryland, showing that his army is going to be dangerously split. We could argue about whether or not the Union moved as quickly as they should have, more quickly than they should have, or otherwise, but the Union is moving uncharacteristically quickly at this point, and they start to push in this direction. There's a terrible battle at South Mountain, 4,500 casualties. 2 years earlier, that would have been the bloodiest battle ever fought in American history. But they fight at 4 mountain passes of South Mountain. The Southerners fall back. Southerners get some good news with the capitulation of Harper's Ferry, where they have the largest capture of Union soldiers during the entire war. Harper's Ferry falls, but now comes the Union juggernaut, 60, 70, 80,000 Union soldiers coming toward Sharpsburg, Maryland here. And Robert E. Lee has got the Potomac River to his back. Okay, it's only 1 mile in that direction. It's 5 miles in the other, but either way, it's a big swollen river to his back. And here comes the large Union army here. And Robert E. Lee thinks he can still salvage this campaign, and that sets up the Battle of Antietam.